Well, a pleasant good afternoon and welcome to Cloud.Nine on ACTN The Voice. I am Sheldon Yearwood and thank you for joining us. We have lots to share with you today. Now, as you know, over the last couple of weeks, we've been taking a look at the UNC internal elections. Thus far, we've had Mr. Vasan Bharat and Mr. David Lee, of course, speaking on behalf of Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, calling on supporters to continue rallying around her, that she's the best option to continue to lead the UNC and even more so to take the party back into the corridors of government. However, Mr. Vasan Bharat shares another view, stating that there needs to be change, right? And the corridors right now, they're not too fitting for the UNC under the current leadership. So I know people have been giving their feedback on those two interviews. We are hoping to have Mr. Basdeo Pandey join us sometime very soon over the next couple of weeks. But we decided to hit the streets. As you know, that's our thing, our face-to-face interviews. And we're going to be going to several UNC strongholds, more than less, to get feedback from you, the people, as to who do you wish to lead your party. Now, you know, there's a third individual in the race, right? Yeah, that, if you didn't know, yes, the third individual in the race. And, of course, those who we went to speak to in Barrackpore, that's right, Barrackpore, they gave their views on who they would like to see lead the party. Very interesting comments indeed. But first, before we go into all of that, I want to take you to our this next segment, our Wise Up segment. And it's in relation to a situation that is developing at the San Fernando Methodist Primary School. Yeah, from the time I mentioned that school, most people know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's go to our Wise Up segment now. All right, so just to, brief you on what's been happening there. You are maybe aware of a story about 3-4 years ago, thereabout, of a teacher, acting principal to be exact, who was charged for alleged sexual misconduct. He was suspended at the time, and, certain developments took place over the last few years in relation to the case. What I'm going to take you to right now is an interview that we did with a concerned parent that we met outside the school yesterday. And why were we there? Well, it's because the teacher, acting principal, has been reinstated. Let's take a look at this story. It's on our social media page already. Many people have been talking about it and sharing it. I gather even a lot of parents would have been sharing it as well. And then after you hear what this parent had to say, I'll give you an update from the PTA. The peace of God is the only thing keeping the parents and teachers of the San Fernando Methodist Primary School, because their peace was disturbed this morning. How and why, you may ask? Well, this is how and this is why. Good morning, good morning. Tell us about the circumstances, the recent developments at the Methodist Primary School.
Okay, the recent developments at the San Fernando Methodist School were, there was an incident about 3 to 4 years ago, and a certain teacher, was charged for the offense,
What was the offense? Or the allegations?
The allegations were a child was molested in the school, right? And he was charged, taken out of the school as a result. The child has dual citizenship for Trinidad and also abroad. So she flew back out of the country, and as a technicality, the case was thrown out, right? We found that the ministry had sent him back to our school. We heard that that was going to happen. So we started a protest. The ministry called us. They told us to stand down. The PTA president.
One question: stand down, right? Stand down. Based on what grounds? What they're going to hold their hand? They're going to what stand? Why did they say stand down?
Well, they told us to stand down because there was mediating between like the ministry and the board to see if they could have something done, right? And they were supposed to get back to us, and that did not happen. We had stopped all protests in goodwill. We waited for the ministry to contact us. Up to date, no one had contacted us. And then this morning, on dropping children to school and dropping my children to school, I saw the individual in the school.
I can just imagine your facial expression at that point.
Heart started to skip beats. Thoughts started to flow through my head because, I mean, the incident was a very serious incident. He was charged, right? He was charged. And we wasn't notified that this was going to take place. Now, the safety of our children is very important, and to every single parent bringing their children to the school. And being the most senior teacher here, we don't have a principal right now. We have an acting principal. He will be put into the position of acting principal.
Because of his seniority?
Because of seniority, which makes the matter even more severe at hand. All right? And PTA board was now contacted, the PTA president, so we're actually formulating to have some things put into place between today and the few days to come to see what mechanism we could have put in place because, like I said, we didn't get any response from the ministry and we're just feeling left out right now.
I spoke to another member of the PTA prior to coming here, and I was told that some of the teachers already left the compound.
Yeah, some teachers started to walk out the compound this morning. I don't know if they were ill, I don't know what had transpired, but when I came, yeah, some teachers had left, and I don't know, following the days to come, what would be the turnout.
Well, I guess they probably got ill because of anyhow. I'll leave it there. Right. So at this point in time, the PTA, they're mobilizing.
They're mobilizing.
Right.
As we speak, we are mobilizing right now. Parents are starting to show up by the school one by one because we are contacting whoever we have contact with, and we are asking parents to come out in their numbers from tomorrow because we would have to start back the protest. The ministry did not. Yeah, the ministry didn't keep their end of their bargain.
Because you all showed good faith, but based on what you're saying right now, they did not show good faith in terms of at least communicating with you all prior the reinstatement. I think that is another issue. So it shows some level of mistrust, and and the list is probably a long one as to, of course, why there's this level of mistrust. All right. So, but what has what else have you heard? Because I can just imagine those teachers who are there who maybe just decided to just hold their hand. I mean,
at the position we are at right now, it's very bad because at the PTA standpoint, I even heard parents saying that they're going to transfer the children out of the school, and if we have to get to that point, we'll have to take 250 children and find transfer places for them, and the ministry cannot find 250 approximately transfer places for these children here. So we are asking the ministry to mediate with us and don't let it get out of control because it's something that we totally against right now.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. All right, so there you have it. So this is what transpired yesterday. Now, this is the latest update from the PTA. They met up till late last evening discussing their next course of action, in relation to, this development with the said teacher, right? They will be holding a press conference, I believe, if not tomorrow, it will be on Thursday. They are looking to gather as much support from the parent and teacher, but the more so parents, because I know some teachers will be very guarded, right? For various reasons, obviously, right? But I know the majority of the parents that I interacted with while we were down there, they've started taking their children out of the school. I know the tutor president, Mr. Lindsay Duda, made a statement in relation to the matter, And the last point he raised was give the teacher a chance. I think where the issue, and I discussed this in some detail with the teachers who were there, not teachers, the parents rather, who were there. The issue is not so much, I'm using that word chance in open and close inverted commas. Now, there's something called due process. And the thing is, where the PTA is feeling slighted, they believe that due process was not done in relation to all parties involved, right? Because if you listen to what the lady said, they held back their hands on any sort of fiery protest in good faith, right? In the hope that the ministry and officials would have met with the PTA, have some sort of meeting with the said teacher, discuss what would have transpired in the last few years, and begin some sort of healing process before any possible integration back into the school. But as a senior officer told me yesterday, he says as much as the ministry, from an ethical perspective, should have done that and met with the PTA and meet with the parent body and all of that, well, when it comes to politics and ethics, it's like chalk and cheese. They always mix, right? Yeah. So he made the point that as much as they should have, they don't have to, right? And that's just the reality. So therefore, that was not done from what the PTA said. They were hoping to meet with the ministry, with the ministry officials, meet with the said teacher, have some dialogue, because again, it's about the comfort as well of the parents and the children of the school. And they felt that that was disrespected. I think that is the issue here. It's not so much giving a chance, but that process of healing has not begun. And that is where the ministry would have faltered in this situation based on the information that was received from the PTA. So that is where they are right now. I know for a fact that there are going to be less students in school today, and we'll see what happens for Wednesday as well. Again, the press conference will be more than likely Thursday from what I'm hearing, but we will keep you posted right here on ACT and The Voice on Cloud.Nine. A really sad development indeed. I am praying generally for healing all around in this situation, but healing also is actually birthed out of humility. And that is where all parties involved need to understand that if it is, and I say all parties involved need to understand that if it is we really want to see anything positive come out of this, in particular, more than anything else, for the children of the school. Let's take a break. When we come back, we have more. We turn our attention to the politics of the day, the UNC internal elections. We'll be right back.
You're now changing your question.
What I would say, Steve, is this.
My first question was, and roll back the tape.
I made my debut for Crystal Palace against Tottenham Hotspur.
My responsibility was to get the ball and make things happen offensively.
All
the time we've played together, I've always been the decoy. Welcome to Field of Dreams on ACTN. My name is Steve David, and I'm your host.
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to another edition of Scoreboard here on ACT, and it's always a pleasure to be in your company every Tuesday evening between the hours of 8 and 9.
Welcome to the new season of Football 101. I am your host, Joshua De Matos.
Well, it's time for your weekly football news update. I love you, Messi.
Unfortunately,
Kiss the badge, kiss the badge. Oh,
what's that? Welcome to this edition of the interview. And as you can see, I'm not alone on the set. I have Marcus, a Liverpool fan, and I have Shakir.
All right, welcome back to Cloud.Nine on ACTN The Voice. I am Sheldon Yearwood. So at this time, let's go to our Let's Chat segment. And yes, we made our way to Barrackpore. All right, so it's a three-way race. And we went to the Barrackpore area to get some comments from, of course, that is a UNC stronghold, who they would like to see lead the party into, as I said, the corridors of the government once again. Very interesting responses. So without further ado, face to face. Elections coming on just numbers, Mrs. Bissessa and Vasant. And now we hear Christine Nwala who's saying jump in the fray. Who you supporting? Who you think will be the next leader to lead the UNC back into?
Kamala. We want Kamala.
You want Kamala?
Yes.
And you believe that? Go ahead.
Yes, she did. She did a lot of good for the people. All right, now we still want Kamala. We don't.
And outside of just leading the UNC, you believe she could also lead the party, the government again?
Yes, she will do a good job. I think she will do a good job.
All right. Same question, sir. Mrs. Bissessa, Mr. Vasan Barath, or Christine Nwala Hussein?
Well, to be honest with you, they have a fight, and who win, I glad for them. I glad for them. Because by the end of the day, we end up in the same low level. We get nothing. So we end up in the same low level. You believe?
Yes. No, you have to support somebody.
We have a debate right here. We have a debate right here.
They remain just so. Right?
Doing what we're doing, but we have to support somebody.
They look for you when they need you. When you need them, you have to make an appointment to see them. What sense that make?
Oh God, oh.
I'm telling you.
That's how it is, right?
And you're going to see them. So I glad for whoever win.
So as far as you're concerned,
when the day come, if I reach to vote, I vote. If me I reach, well, amen.
So if you do decide to reach in this real best bike I seen here,
yeah.
Is that real best bike in the Jasmine? I got to go on.
Because I just say.
Oh,
so long and they help.
Oh, hold on, let me see. Oh, all right. So you been looking for help and so forth, and
yeah, the 2 foot out of fix, but so long as in 2000.
Stand by. I got to rest my hand right here.
In 2014, and me I get help yet with the government or nobody. So I still fighting up. So that was it. They come and go, and the small one remains just so small, nothing doing. You know, so I glad for whoever win.
And watch me something else, Giles. The man patriotic, you know.
Well, what you go do?
The man patriotic, you know. The man high flag, you know. And the man ain't getting help, you know, boy, Giles. Wait, yeah. I mean, yeah, can't block it so. Right. Nice. Talking about.
Kamala Prasad. Well, I feel she have a vision for the country. I believe so. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Now, people looking at jobs. They're looking at health care. They're looking at better roads. You know, all of that.
So you're basing this, of course, on the track record.
Remember, people looking at everything. They're working for less money, and all taxes gone up. Everything increased from diesel. They're looking at education system. What about the health care system? It's in a real bad state. So you know.
Yeah, the healthcare system is most probably the worst in the world, I feel.
Any government going to government, focus on the healthcare system.
Channel 9. When?
Really bad. They can have people sitting on the hospital whole day and not attending to them. That is bad.
So this man said we had zero now, they're looking for a hero. And that hero they're saying is Ms. Kamala Prasad Bisesa. They're saying that Mr. Vasan Bharat doesn't have the capabilities. She knows her, of course. Good Lord. Right. To do it. So we're going to speak to some more people and hear what are their views. Thank you so very much. All right. The internal, we have Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, Mr. Vasan Bharat, and now Christine Nawala Hussain, who we believe can take the party forward into government.
Well, the only person I really see could take that party forward again is Kamala, you know.
Your reasons?
Well, she did a good job first time, right? And she always continued to do a good job. But what happened, really and truly, what caused she to lose this election is the younger people wanted change. And change meaning, if we good already, if we already good, the opposite of good is bad. And that is exactly what we get. So we cannot blame the woman for that. You understand?
Yeah. So what message is sending for the youth arm of the UNC, the youth supporters?
Right. Continue to support Ms. Kamala Bisesa. Right? She have experience and everything else. Everybody else we're going up against her was working under her. Right? And it would not be what there is today if it wasn't for she. You understand? Well, he probably wouldn't have, if she wasn't there,
He would have won.
He wouldn't have won.
But there are those who are making the argument that Mr. Vasan Bharat has that national appeal whereby without a coalition, Mr. Prasad Bisesa may not be able to grab enough to get in the government. Do you believe that's the case now, or things have changed?
Well, what really happened in this country really is that you could do how good you want. Everybody has voted against race. That is what caused any problem in the country. A man on both sides. So a person could do how good they want. They could be how good they want. And the reality is that, you know, that's how it is.
Very interesting response there. Thank you very much, sir. That was good? That was real good. Who are you supporting for the internal? Mrs. Prasad Bisesa, Mr. Vasan Bharat, or Mrs. Christine Nawala Hussain? Who you think could take the party forward into government? Not just the party, you know, but into government. Who you think have that chance of the three?
Well, I really never think about it, but we go with the popular one. Yeah, the most popular one who have the experience. And,
that would be Mrs.
Yeah. She had the experience and know-how, but she was there before. And I think she's popular.
Yes, popular vote.
Yeah.
All right, no problem. All right. So why not Mr. Vasan Bharat? Let me hear you.
Exactly.
He doesn't?
Somebody who will do something for us. You know, she did a lot. I'm from Pinal, so hello.
We talk about the UNC internal.
Oh.
Yeah,
the
UNC.
Kamala.
Why Mrs. Prasad Bisesa?
Well, she's the most suitable candidate.
Yeah. Why most suitable?
Well, you know, she have vast amount of experience.
Based on her experience, she will return.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Nice one.
Nice one. Thank you. Who you think could lead the party into government? Mrs. Prasad Bisesa, Mr. Vasan Bharat, or now Christine Nawala Hussein?
I think Kamala.
Yeah?
Kamala.
Why Kamala?
She will lead good, man.
So you believe that the country is ready to give her another chance? Not just the party, but the country is ready to give her another chance at government?
Yeah, they're supposed to give her a next chance, man. People just take years to build a house. The woman can't build a country in 5 years. You have to give she 10 at least to see what she could do.
Good responses there, man.
All right. And I should give her a chance.
Your choice to lead the party and also lead the party into government?
Kamala Prasad Bisesa.
Why Mrs. Prasad Bisesa? Why not
the woman?
People say Basambra has the national appeal.
I prefer her because I mean we had dealings with her before.
Okay, like, so what?
She ran the country good. We didn't have a problem.
You think that, just as I asked gentlemen before, you think that the nation, not just the support, the strong, the heartland or the base, do you believe the nation is ready to give another chance based on what's happening?
Yes. Yeah.
What do you hear on the ground? What are people saying, including what you feel right now?
Well, I feel, yeah, she deserves another chance. Mm-hmm.
How are things in the country for you now? How are you feeling about things in the country?
Not nice at all. Too hard.
Too hard.
It's too hard.
Tell me what too hard, man.
The prices of things, no jobs, things like that.
How, Anna, this is your business here. How have things been for you and I guess your family in terms of the business?
It's slow. Compared to how it was before, it's slow.
What are people saying?
The prices are things too high. You know, they're too high out there.
How much do you normally sell, let's say, your delicacies for now? You all also had to raise as well?
No, we didn't raise because, you know, we didn't raise. Same for ours.
I guess you're sympathizing with the people.
Yeah, you have to. We do.
I understand. All right, thank you very much.
You know, I like Kamala. Kamala is my neighbor. She is my neighbor. That's in when I live in Buru Trace.
Oh, that's back in the day. All right, so are you supporting her to continue leading the party or are you supporting Mr. Bassam?
My people Kamala. That's my choice.
All right, so there you have it. Very interesting indeed. And, well, landslide. If it was up to just that pool of people that we interviewed there, landslide victory for Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa. You know, one person, you know, he would not have seen there who we spoke to was making a reference to that particular junction where, you know, he sells citrus, right? And he was making the point that, you know, that junction, you know, even when we went, there would have been like about around lunchtime thereabout. But normally, and I remember from years gone by as well, that's a busy intersection in Barrackport. That's number 2, I believe, junction. Busy. It was dead. And he was making the point, he was just drawing reference to the economic downturn and so forth, and how things are just not moving. And, you know, he said that by that time we were there, he should not have been there. He's normally, you know, sold out. He spoke to another guy lower down the road who supplies ducks to a gentleman there. Normally, the man would buy. I'm just putting into context why they believe that Mrs. Pasabi Sessa is the right person, because they of course, based on what's been happening, they do not believe that the current administration, that's the PNM, can take the country out of this hole, this economic hole that we're in, and they believe that Mrs. Pasabi Sessa can do it, stating that things have just gone downhill. And he made the point that he normally supplies about 25 ducks or so a week to this particular retailer, and now, well, he only gives like about 10 or 12 because they're just not selling. So they're basing, that's just one of the arguments why they believe that Mrs. Pasabi Sessa has the ability to turn things around for them, as they said, given her track record. So it's left to be seen. There are a couple who still believe that Mr. Vasan Bharat has a good chance, but the majority still says, listen, we're going to put our money on Mrs. Kamala Prasad Sessa. We'll be coming to areas near you. We'll be coming to Princestown, Couva, should go on as much places as we can leading up to the elections, which it's carded rather for November 26th. But at this time, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, what we're going to do is, for those who would have missed it, we're going to give you just a part of Mr. David Lee's, or rather Mr. David Lee's interview that we had just under a week ago, and a portion as well of Mr. Devant Maharajan. Yes, sorry. Not Devant, Mr. Vasan Bharat. Like Devant, like you want to jump in your ears, but your name just jump on my mouth just so. Yeah, that kind of weird though. Next thing you see, yeah, no, let's hope not. There's too much drama. Right, Mr. Vasan Bharat, right. We're going to give you a portion of his interview as well, right here on Cloud.Nine on ACTN The Voice. We will be right back.
The devil's the accuser of the brethren. And he hates marriage because marriage is the image of God. He hates marriage because it's the most sacred institution on earth. God created marriage in Genesis chapter 1. It is the first institution he ever created, and it's the foundation for every other institution on earth. And he's a strategist. He understands if he can destroy marriage, he can destroy all of society.
right, and welcome back. Now, my special guest for this afternoon, this gentleman has never wavered in his support for the current leader of the United National Congress, Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar. When many would have, left her side, he stood at her side, held her hand through it all, through the storms and the murky waters, no pun intended, because they say she liked to walk in flood waters. Yeah, anyhow, right? But he has stood with her through the test of time, and he's here with us today. Dr. David Lee. Is it Dr. David Lee or Mr. David Lee?
Well, just call me David.
You need to get that very clear. But it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming again.
Sheldon. I'm so happy to be back in front of you again after your little sabbatical.
Yeah.
And really want to say thank you for inviting me here to be part of your team.
No problem.
And Cloud.Nine. And it's good to know that you're back on the air.
I'm back on the air.
I want to just say thank you to your viewers out there that you have a dynamic program here.
Thank you very much,
great
sir. I
host.
really appreciate your support. And speaking of support, it's another time again, the internal. And once again, we have Mr. Vasan Bharat going up against the current political leader of the party, of course. And there are those, and I'm going to go right into it, right?
Sure.
There are those who've expressed concerns over the last couple of years that as much as she is a dynamic leader, that dynamism cannot transcend into what you call the marginal seats. And I'm going to throw this question the same right through it out to Mr. Vasan Bharat. When the whole fallout with the COP took place, there are those who said, that they felt used, they felt abused. I'll even go so far to say that they felt like bastard children because, they really hoped that a coalition would have worked. That did not happen. What is the plan of the current leader? Because again, it's not about just being in opposition. I'm sure that there are aspirations by Mrs. Bissessar and her team to once again walk into the place of governance. What is the plan going forward to regain that trust of the people in those marginal seats or the seats that they would have lost?
Okay. Well, Sheldon, since September 2015, and with the revalidation or her victory as political leader in November 2015, overwhelmingly she defeated both Dr. Munilal, who also contested the post of political leader, and Mr. Vasan Bharat. At the time, I think she gained her voting count was over 18,000 votes. And so it was an overwhelming victory on her part. I think Dr. Munilal got about 1,900, if my memory serves me well, and Vasan Bharat got about 1,500. All right, so that they were annihilated, if I can use that word.
Interesting choice of words. Go ahead.
So then, the political leader's position is up for 3 years, and the other members on the national executive, including myself, is up to 2 years, a 2-year term. So the national executive term expired. It's coming to an end sometime in November this month. And the political leader, the Honorable Kamala Persad-Bissessar, also felt that this is a good time as any to revalidate her position as political leader and come back to the membership before time to revalidate herself as political leader. And I think that is what really started the whole issue where Vasan Bharat had an issue of her revalidating herself, and other MP Ganga Singh raised the issue of process.
I think he was the first one that really came out
openly and said that. So that was put to bed by our Congress about 2 Mondays ago. MP Ganga Singh was happy with the process. He was in attendance that day. It was a very large Congress, and we overwhelmingly supported Kamala Persad-Bissessar to run as political leader again. So that has been put to rest. So now we have a race between the political leader, the incumbent, Kamala Persad-Bissessar. Vasan Bharat has indicated, but he has not filed. So the last day for filing of nominations is November the 15th. So, while Vasan Bharat has indicated out there in the public domain that he's interested in running for political leader, he has not filed his documentation with the party. Yesterday, I understood that Christine Noalo Hussein
yes,
has filed her for verification, because there's a process of verifying her nomination form to ensure that it is correct and it's filled out properly. So she's going through that process. And what you saw yesterday by Christine filing is really the democratic process in its true sense in the party. That, you know, that we welcome anyone to challenge for any position. You have several positions. I think you have 18 other positions that one can challenge and you know, to be nominated for. So that is a fair and you know, frank and free democratic process that we'll be having on November 26th is the election day.
Right.
And you know, and at the end of that night, you will have different individuals winning different positions. But I want to just clearly state that, you know, for the record, I feel very strongly that Kamala Persad-Bissessar will return overwhelmingly as the political leader of the United National Congress.
And there are many who hold that opinion. You know, but going back again to the, you know, the original concern by the populists, beyond, let's say, beyond the night of November 26th, it's now about, it's more than just party, it's about nation.
Right. What has been happening over the last...
Seats have been a concern.
Correct. Yeah. What has been happening over the last 2 years within the National Executive, we have been working very, very strong with the political leader. So she has been working very strong with the National Executive, and that transcended itself in the inroads that the party would have made in the last local government elections in 2016, in November 2016, the ending of November 2016, where we made inroads in the PNM, certain corporations that we didn't hold any seats, Tunapuna, the Sama Barataria, even in San Fernando Corporation, we were able to get an alderman in, Arima, based on the number of voters that came out and voted for the party, we were able to get an alderman in the Arima Corporation, which is held strongly by the PNM, in San Fernando also. In Cuba, we were able to win outright all the positions within the Cuba, councillor positions within the Cuba, Talparo, Tabaquit corporations. Chagonas, again, we were able to get back fully that corporation, that borough. So we made several inroads within the overall structure of the local government elections. And that is a testament to the hard work of the political leader, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, over the last 25 months with her team. And so that's the national executive side. Then you have the parliamentary side, where we have been a very strong opposition within the parliament. Anyone was to look back at the FACTA legislation that the government of the day tried to, you know, bully us into agreeing. In September 2015, they brought that bill in September 15 to try and really bully us into accepting what they put on the table. When we eventually fought and stood strong against it, what happened was that in December 2015 or January 2017, a new bill came out of it, and it was really a UNC FACTA legislation for the good of the country and the good of the people. And that was proclaimed sometime in March in 2017. So there were several pieces of legislation that we worked together with the government. Even the marriage bill was another one that we worked together with the government and supported it at the end of the day.
You're speaking a very, and I'm listening to you and I'm hearing, you know, a very strong opposition, a strong United National Congress. Are you saying, now, based on what you're saying, and that's good and that's welcoming news for the supporters, so, you know, you hear different stories, you hear different reports of the party still not going through that healing process. You're hearing from different quarters that there are still many open wounds that need to be healed. So is it safe to say, based on what you're saying, that there are those who are fanning the flames, so say, to make things appear worse than it is?
Sure, I would put it that way. I think, you know, as human beings, we are never satisfied, all right? And what you are seeing is that certain individuals, as I put it this way, there can only be one leader. There can only be one chief, there can only be one sheriff. And really the strength of that leader is really the players underneath that individual. So really and truly, what has been happening is that you still have a few disgruntled individuals, and as a political leader in the Monday Night Forum, she put it well. She put it across that these individuals who were ministers under the PP government and might have lost their seat. Really and truly, are they really loyal to the party? Because you have not been seeing them around, and they have, really and truly loyalty to the party should be where you come back and try to mentor and give and try to transform and work with the other individuals to make the party a very stronger and united front for the continuity of the party and for the good of the country. Yes, I agree there are some disgruntled individuals, and that's life, and that will never go away. People always feel that they are never satisfied. They always feel that they can do it better, and that's why we have this internal election, so that it's free and fair, democratic, and they have a right to challenge the political leader or any positions.
You mentioned free and fair. Mr. Bharat stated when he was here that there's an issue for him to actually have access to the membership list, and he's concerned of any discrepancies as a result of what happened in the last one. Can you address that?
Well, I think today the list is out. I'm sure if Mr. Bharat wants to get a copy of it, he can look at it. But one has to ask the question. Up to today, I don't think Mr. Bharat has filed his nomination form. I don't know what is the keep back from filing it, if he's filing it, or he has a change of heart. I really can't say, but I would assume that he was one of the individuals that strongly came out and said that he would challenge and contest the position of political leader. A few days have passed, and yet we have not seen his nomination form. So it's left to be seen, but the list is there. Mr. Bharat has had the last list in 2015. I think the only you would have to now add any new members that came in, which is that revised list is out today from what I understand from the General Secretary of the party. So Mr. Bharat would have his list and he can view it. Anyone, all members are free to view this listing that is there.
As we're speaking of the possible contenders, we kind of scratch the surface with Ms. Christine Wallace. So let's go beyond the skin now and go deeper into where the blood flows and see what's really happening here. So nobody saw this recent addition coming in terms of the contending for the position. What are your thoughts? Because I knew you were a bit taken aback with it. So what are your thoughts on her entering the race now?
Well, I will tell you I'm surprised of her challenging for the political leader position. But, in politics, as I consider myself a newcomer to the politics, and each day you learn. And I'm getting to learn very quickly that you should never be surprised in the politics of the day. All right? So let's put that aside. So yesterday afternoon, I was pleasantly taken aback by that decision.
I liked it pleasantly. You said that with a smile on your face.
Yeah.
Pleasantly.
All right. Because I know Christine. I've gotten to know her better over the last 25 months as colleagues in the opposition. I consider her darling, a very nice individual. She's originally from Mova. We have same common. Her parents were in the credit union movement with my mother.
There's a friendship beyond the political lines.
Yeah, and that friendship will continue after the political.
And she said that in her statement in the media.
I saw an article today that she loves Kamala Prasad-Bissessar dearly, but she feels at this point in time she has a duty within herself.
Do you think there's more to it?
Well, it's still early days. I think there's more to it. I personally feel there's some other individuals behind her.
So there's a puppet master somewhere?
I wouldn't use I wouldn't say puppet master. I think Christine is a strong woman, and she can make her own decisions. So I wouldn't say there's a puppet master behind her, but I'm sure they would have a team of people behind Christine. Because this kind of decision, you don't make these decisions on your own. These are not casual decisions that you wake up one morning and say, I will challenge the political leader.
Right, exactly.
Right? So
some thought would have had to go into it. Yeah.
Would have had to go into it. And maybe she might not have been the chosen one at the original onset. and things might have happened that she's now decided to challenge a political leader. But it's left to be seen what happens.
And what she has to say during the
what
3
she has
weeks of
today.
campaign. That's going to be interesting.
Correct. And so that, democracy is alive and well in the United National Congress.
All right, let's take a short break. When we come back, we're going to speak a little bit about the campaigning itself, because the last time it happened, things were said, feelings got hurt, a few tears were shed, but all in all, the party continued to rebuild. When we come back right here, I have to discuss the UNC elections with Mr. Dr. saying both of mine, David Lee. We'll be right back. Well, a pleasant good afternoon and welcome to this special presentation of Cloud.Nine on ACTN The Voice. I am Sheldon Yearwood, and we're here to talk about the UNC internal elections. Many are hoping that the sun will rise for the UNC in the context of once again holding the realm of government. However, there are those who are saying that the sun is setting quickly. And there are some who have expressed some discontent. However, there are others who are saying they are okay with how things are going, things are improving, there's healing. What are your thoughts? Well, with me this afternoon is the man who is very familiar with the internal issues, the internal healing that is needed in the UNC, and none other than Mr. Vasant Bharat. He is contesting the post for leadership of the UNC. Of course, a former minister under the People's Partnership and senator. So let's welcome him this time, Mr. Bharat. A pleasure, and thank you as always.
My pleasure, Sheldon.
And I'm really, it's not 2015. It's a different year, a different season. And I want to jump straight into it, sir, because many were hoping that you would have thrown your hat in the ring once again, and you have decided to do so. And as I started off by saying that, a lot of healing, people have been calling for healing within the UNC, and there are many who are saying, you know what, the healing process has been good. But there are those who are saying there are still many open wounds and open sores that are just getting wider and wider. What are your thoughts on those comments? What is the position of the UNC right now that you said, listen, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring once again?
Well, I think well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show.
No problem.
I think the bigger issue of healing within the party is the healing that needs to take place in the country. Mm-hmm. After more than 50 years of independence, Sheldon, I think we are far more racially divided in Trinidad and Tobago and far more of a divisive society than we've ever been. And to a large extent, our political culture has contributed significantly to that. The manner in which our politics has evolved and how our politicians behave has, to a large extent, contributed to the fact that Trinidad and Tobago is almost on its knees at this point in time. And I say that because when one looks around at the institutions of state that are supposed to serve the population, whether it's the institutions of health, education, the police service, the judiciary, transportation, they all have failed the population. Very few of those institutions work in the manner in which they should, efficiently and professionally, that effectively serves the population. We also have, as you would know, widespread social decay, manifesting itself in schools now. We see across the country all kinds of activities related to sex and violence that is prevalent in many schools today. Mm-hmm. And of course, in the wider communities, we see a lot of serious crimes being committed. Still, murder rate has crossed over 400 already for the year. And then we also have a situation where, based on where the economy has found itself, we don't seem, from a governmental perspective, to have an escape plan for the citizens in terms of creating new forms of revenue and creating new job opportunities for our young people. Right. So when one puts all of those things in context, the politics of the country becomes very relevant and important in terms of how we go forward. And it cannot be business as usual.
Right.
All right? We need a new paradigm shift to be able to accommodate the ills that face society. And so therefore, if the UNC, of which I'm a lifetime member, intends to go back into government or find its way back into government, it has to convince a large body of the population with whom, let's be fair, they've lost the trust and confidence of, certainly based on the 2015 general election. But leading up to 2015, the party would have also lost 5 national elections. We won in 2010 and then proceeded to lose the Tobago House of Assembly elections, the by-election in Chaguanas West, the local government elections of 2013, where we lost 5 regional corporations, the by-election of St. Joseph in 2013, and then, of course, followed up with a humiliating defeat in the general election of 2015. All of those things point to the fact that there has been a breakdown of trust between the population and ourselves. And let's be fair, the population gave us a huge mandate in 2010. The question is, have we looked and searched deep down internally? Have we done the reflection that's necessary? And have we done the analysis to determine why that has taken place, why we have lost and continue to lose so many successive contests? And what are we doing to reposition the party to face another general election when it's called in 2020 or before then?
There needs to be...
And those are my issues, really.
No, I'm looking at the letter you sent to the General Secretary of the UNC.
Yes.
And what you just said there, you encapsulated more or less in what you wrote, right? The low gas prices, declining economy, etc., and the many issues that are now before the country. And you said in this context, it is of the utmost importance that our party be led by a team of credible, competent, accomplished, and committed individuals. So in hindsight, what you're saying is that the current leadership of the UNC does not represent what you said is needed.
That's
correct?
precisely what I'm saying. In fact, the party, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many people, have done very little in the last 2 years to reposition itself to be a credible alternative.
What is the vision of the UNC at this time under the current leadership? Is it a case, clearly based on what you're saying, they're not seeing things clearly? You know, are there members even within the ranks right now who have come to you and said, listen, Mr. Barrett, you know, we are willing to put on the corrective lenses that we need to put on to see things better. We are willing to do what needs to be done to change things, but are you getting, what is the feedback you're getting so far?
Well, I've stated
from others in
publicly
the party
that I have been working with about 6 MPs, sitting MPs in the parliament, behind the scenes, of course. And for those who may think that these people are being disloyal, they're not. They're actually being loyal to country because they understand and realize that the party with its blinkers on cannot take the country forward. And these people are involved in politics, not for themselves. They're involved because they want to be able to serve on a larger scale. And the best possible way to do that is to be in government. And they don't believe that the UNC in its current state is a vehicle that is properly primed to be able to achieve that. So I've been working with them behind the scenes. I've been working with them in their constituencies. Clearly, as you would appreciate, the kind of politics we practice in Trinidad makes it very difficult for them to come out openly and endorse or to support, but their support is there quietly. And then let me also say that it doesn't only, it's not only limited to several MPs, but it extends further to many activists and councillors who are working in the constituencies, who clearly understand that very little is taking place in the constituency and at constituency level. There's very little party activity taking place. And very importantly, Sheldon, that they don't have a voice in the building of the organization. They are essentially called upon when election time rolls around to bring votes out or to come out and vote for themselves.
All right, there you have it. So again, as I mentioned, we're going to have Mr. Basdeo Pandey. We're hoping to have Mr. Basdeo Pandey soon on the program. And if all goes well, why not? Mrs. Kamala Prasad says, so we invite you. Please join us on set. Let's have a discussion as to the way forward for the United National Congress. This has been Cloud9 on ACTN The Voice. I am Sheldon Yearwood. God bless you.